Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. Time for some transfer talk. Hope you all had a good weekend. Don't think there was anything happening that anyone give a fuck about. So we'll move it swiftly on. You all right? Right. Here's a weird one. Like, it's an interesting one. Felix Nmecha. Bit of a random sort of name that's been flung into the mix, and if it becomes like there's a lot more in it, then we'll start to do scout report on him. But here's a name that's been thrust into the mixer at the moment. So Patrick Berger has said United have been watching Felix Nmecha from Wolfsburg. He would like to leave Wolfsburg early this summer. United have already held talks with the player's father, who's working like his consultant. Price would be around 15 million euros. Does that mean that United have given up on Kim Min-jae? Is this an alternative? Would they be giving Victor Lindelof the opportunity to become third choice and Nmecha becoming fourth choice? Very, very, very interesting in terms of how all of this lot is going to shake off. And what does that mean in terms of Harry Maguire? Well, we heard late last week, that sorry, I've got this done wrong in my head. So, Nmecha's a midfielder. I got someone else in my head. Ignore me. So, on Harry Maguire front, Romano's come out towards the back end of last week and sort of said Harry Maguire's not interested in leaving. I don't think that that's realistic, to be honest. I think that is more likely to be what's the word I'm looking for here? Agents just trying to figure out how it goes down. Agents trying to set the narrative, set the agenda, and figure out how it's going to play off. So I think this is people sort of setting their stall out, if you know what I mean. That's the sort of thing I'm trying to aim for here a little bit. But Romano's come out and said there's going to be a meeting between Maguire and United over his future. Hasn't taken place yet, but it will happen soon. No clubs have been mentioned yet. And that's the interesting thing there for me, is that posturing, correct, that was the word I couldn't fucking think of. Cheers, Pete. No clubs have been mentioned yet. Now, in the Harry Maguire saga, I find this the most interesting part. We all think he's going to go. We all want him to go. He doesn't want to go. But no one has been like, I'll have a bit of that, yeah. Go on then. Send him my way. And if that's not telling for a Manchester United captain that cost £80 million, that has nothing to prove, that starts every time for England, then what the fuck does that tell you? That nobody wants him. That no one's come in and gone, yeah, go on then. I'll have a bit of that. So as Romano was saying, hasn't taken place yet, will happen soon. No club's been mentioned. Erik Ten Hag will speak to Maguire, as it's possible they will part ways this summer in case a good proposal arrives. I mean, Romano's not really given us any information there whatsoever. No club's mentioned. It's possible they will part ways in case a good proposal arrives. Well, yeah, of course that's the case. And if I bag the Euro millions, I'll have a right good summer. Maybe. But if I don't, then what? So, what are we saying here? Mark says milk turns quicker than Maguire. Well, to be fair, it turns pretty quickly in this weather. Chris says Napoli, Kim Min-jae for Maguire. Napoli aren't going to take Maguire. Napoli are not taking Maguire. Maguire to Saudi Arabia. I wonder, is that a possibility? Looking at the money they've been throwing around. Monthly Scoop says going to Dortmund, United won't bother once the PR guys hear about his social media history. Oh, does someone want to fill me in on the social media history? Because I'm not aware of it. Mark says, I'm a big Bundesliga fan. Nmecha is a great lad with technical skills, more of a 10. We can also use him as an 8. Hodgie says, I know Maguire isn't a fit for United, but there are plenty of teams in the Premier League he would do bits in. Listen, I actually genuinely think that if he went to a team that had to defend its box, isn't going to play with the ball, he probably does quite well. What do I make of Thielman off to Villa? 12 months ago, I would have said, yeah, to be honest, I really want Yuri Thielman, but this past 12 month has been a poor 12 month. And really, there was a poor 6 month ahead of that. So it's probably been more like a poor 18 month. Nick says Maguire suits a team playing free at the back. Not necessarily. Because there's more than one way to play free at the back. Stoke and Barcelona both used to play 4-3-3. Are you prepared to have the argument that it was the same? No, there's more than one way to play a 4-3-3. You can play a very offensive 4-3-3, a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, back three, and it doesn't look anything like the same. So, no, I don't think you can make a sweeping statement that says he suits a team playing a back three, because what you're expecting probably from a team playing a back three is going to see a lot more of the ball, depending on where they want to put their line. You know, you could still be asking him to play 1v1 on the halfway line. Neither of those two things is he any good at. So, no. How much do you think we could realistically recoup in player sales this summer? I think 150 million would be achievable. Chris, the only one, says, new Spurs manager seems like a Maguire fan. Does he, though? Did I see Brandon having a go at Rio? Yeah, I did. So I actually haven't heard what Rio said, although I've had a hell of a lot of tweets. I don't know if I can be asked digging out the celebration of City winning the Champions League to go fucking look through it. Those that have asked, what did Rio say? What did Rio do? And I think people have seen their ass that he was congratulating, you know, what was it, Kyle Walker, Jack Grealish, and Pep. I haven't seen it. Like most United fans, unlike Rio that had to work it, most United fans probably did exactly the same as I did. Which is, as soon as that whistle went, I went, boop, fucking laters. Watching this shit. Why would I sit around and watch fucking City celebrations? What sort of fucking weird sadomasochism is that where you want to fucking watch the celebrations? They're having a fucking parade there in about 6 hours' time. I ain't going to be fucking here for that either. I'm getting right on my toes. Nick says, I was laughing last night. Alex Scott saying Poch may last longer in this job than at Chelsea. By the way, Alex Scott last night, oh my good God. I got a few texts off people saying, Jesus, Alex Scott. And then I saw it on her Instagram this morning. Wow, what a woman. Gaz says, Rio said before they won, Pep is the best coach in the world. I mean, there's a lot of evidence to suggest he might be. Personally, don't believe it, but then if you put me on the spot and say, well, who's better? I don't know if I can answer that, like, convincingly. At the minute, the guy's just won a treble on the back of winning 3 in a row. As much as this hurts, there has to be some semblance of realism here. And look, has he done it with a team that's had unlimited resources and a director of football that's signed all of the players that he wants? Yes. Did he do it on the back of signing this absolute fucking machine of a striker? Yeah. He still did it. You know what I mean? Football 360 says, you should have a word with Rio. He's going to get cancelled quick. Look, if someone sends me something and goes, here's what he said, that's out of order, I'll watch it. And yeah, I'll bring it up on a podcast with him. But I'm not going out of my fucking way to go watch the celebrations of City winning the Champions League just to fucking say to Rio, oh, yeah, you probably went a bit overboard there. Yeah. Akil says, not sure how it is in the UK, but in South Africa, things are quiet on the treble side. Small earthquake we had was dominating. Nick says, got to say, Nani looks a lot fitter now than he did at United, plus looking sharp. See, I didn't watch any of Soccer Aid, so I have no idea. Have I spoke to Brendan yet? No, Brendan is currently, I imagine, off his fucking nut in Ibiza. Or he took a private jet to Ibiza over the weekend. His eye looks bad. But yeah, you know, it's one of those, isn't it? It is one of those. What's next for Paddock FC? Hopefully some more announcements this week. Hopefully confirmation of our friendly in Dublin. I should have the information about what's going on with the juniors. We might have some information about what's going on with the women. There is a trial in 2 weeks. If you know anybody that you think should come and trial for us, then keep an eye on our socials. 24th of June, we are doing a trial. On Saturday, we are doing the first Stretford Paddock boat race. And you go, boats, rivers, lakes, boats. There's no boats involved, but it will be called the Stretford Paddock boat race. So tune in for that. We will be making a video about the Stretford Paddock boat race. All I would say is it relates to David Goggins more than it relates to the water. So there is a boat race on Sunday. I have no fucking clue when the app is coming out. Here's the situation with the app. The guy that's made the app is making the app for free. So even if it took a little bit longer, can't really complain about someone making an app for free. With the guy making the app, what's happened is he's had his license revoked, and Apple are being proper dicks about whether or not he owns the rights to make an app in the name of Stretford Paddock FC. And it doesn't matter what paperwork I send, because like, what official documentation do I have? I made a club, I fucking joined a league, blah, blah, blah. It's not like you get a certificate for it, is it? Now, there are documents involving like the CIC and stuff like that, but none of them pertain to like the names or the copyright usage of the name. So every single thing that I'm sending to Apple, they're just kind of going, yeah, I don't really know if that's legit or not. So, I mean, we've never got to this stage before, so it feels like it's closer than ever, but I cannot believe the faff surrounding getting this through the fucking Apple store. Chen says, treble or invincibles, which one is better? I don't know, mate. What's better? Losing 3 games and winning 3 trophies, or losing 6 games and winning 1? You tell me. Winning more is better than winning less. Always. Yeah, Joey gets it. Who's going to carry the boats? Yep, it's a boat race like that. And training starts on Tuesday for everybody. It's absolutely roasting, and I will not be taking any bottles with me to training this Tuesday. So that's what them guys are getting in the mix for. Steph says, late to the party, did Brendan lose? Yeah, was it Friday night? Friday night or Thursday night? I can't remember which night it was. I think it might have been Friday night. Thursday night. Fucking time zone messes me up. Yeah. He's been kneed in the head. It's actually more like cheekbone. He's took a knee to it. He's had to have stitches in it. Absolutely smashed him. But you know, getting kneed in the fucking head's going to do that to you. But like he's took it really well. You know, he's had over 30 fights. It's the first time he's ever been stopped. The losses that he had, bar the Russian guy who did beat him, I think the 2-3 other losses that he had prior to that were split decisions. So at least one of the judges thought that he won those. So it's one of those. Is Brendan a heavyweight? No, he's a featherweight. So not quite. Have I got hay fever? Yeah. So apologies for the going on this morning. It did me in on Saturday. But yeah. Harshav says, why not open memberships? So memberships will be open again this week. We're just trying to get through the bulk of all of the renewals of everybody. And for everyone that's emailed with card problems or this, that, and the other with the memberships, there's like one guy and he's working a day and a half a week that's going through them. You know, we are a very, very small organisation. Manchester United, this is not. So be patient and we'll get it the right way eventually. The super chat there from CG says, have I used Jocko's leadership skills courses to help manage a group of players? Not consciously, no, I've not. But yeah, if you are interested in becoming a member, we will be opening that a little bit later on. Might talk about it on XG, so I might do it before XG this week. Andy Long says, does it auto-renew? It does, but it sent a couple of emails out saying if you need to update your card details, then click this link, and then the link only took you to the homepage of the website, didn't take you to the portal on Stripe where you could actually upload your details. So it's been a little bit of a faff. Are monthly subscriptions an option for paddock ownership? Once the app goes live, yes. Until the app, no. Jack says, thoughts on going for Højlund and stick with Marshall until Jan and then try and get Tony for cheap in Jan. I don't think United will ever go for Ivan Toney now. I think once he's had that, United care so much about their PR that I don't think they'll bother. Have I sent Jolie and Lescott a paddock for him yet? No. So obviously Jolien played us last year and brought a lot of Premier League players and stuff down. He likes what we're doing, but he is a Manchester City legend. He's not going to play for a team derived from Manchester United fan channel. So yes. Rizzo says, but they want to keep Greenwood. Do they want to keep Greenwood? I don't know if they want to keep Greenwood. You might know. I don't know. Chemical Romance says, one more season for Sancho, then if he doesn't cut it, let him go. Omar says Sancho needs to go. I think he's been better than his people's perception has been of him lately, to be honest. He did start poor, and he didn't come back and hit the ground hard the way we hoped he would do after his little trip to Holland, but he has improved. How's the army training going? Right, so I was aiming to get back into the army in 4-para. I had to have joined by March, but the 4-5-7 that I did towards the back end of last year, I developed plantar fasciitis. So I've been waiting for the plantar fasciitis treatment, and I've only had one of my feet done. I've got to have the other foot done. As soon as I had that done, I can sort of resume and start going hard at it again to the level that I was going at it previously. But I think I've missed the boat in terms of joining 4-para now. So don't have a specific goal that I'm training for, just training. I don't think it's going to happen. Chen says, did watching Onana also make you cry about what we have at home? I think so many people obviously tuned in and watched Onana that he's now leapfrogged everybody in terms of what everyone wants United to bring in. But I'm not 100% sure Onana is the best keeper in the world. I still think Costa's probably better than him, to be honest. Would I let Maguire and Sancho go as a straight swap for Kane? Yeah, maybe. Wayne Carter says they can't terminate Greenwood's contract. He could sue. Yeah, I wonder if they're just going to have someone come in for him and let him go that way. It's almost like the easiest decision by not really making a decision, isn't it? Because I think, right or wrong, if United make any decision now, so there's probably 3 things that United could do. Maybe more. You guys let me know if you think there's more. Option number 1 might be allow him to return to pre-season and just carry on where he left off and say nothing. Now, a lot of people are going to kick off about that. Option number 2 is sack him, bringing the club into disrepute. Potential lawsuit on the hands because the case has been dropped. The case being dropped does not necessarily mean it's the same as being found innocent. It just means there's no case because the main witness is obviously having his baby. And option 3 is sell him. And that kind of kicks the decision making down the road a little bit for them. So I think that's probably what they're going to do. How much will we get for Mason? Who the hell knows? I mean, if it's prior all this coming out, he's a £100 million player. Post that, don't know. Who the hell knows? Don't forget the sponsors is important what they'll do. The club will 100% already canvass the sponsors to find out what they think. Bo Marnio says, looking at getting a Whoop soon. Are we doing any promos? Yes, we'll be doing one in August. But if you DM me on Instagram, I can get you a free month for the Whoop by using my code. But yeah, we'll be running another campaign, I think in August, of the Whoop. And there should be a video coming out today or tomorrow on the IRL channel. That's the next video. And it's a Whoop video. So check that one out. Any news on a takeover? No. If I had news on the takeover, I probably would have led with it, to be honest, this morning, rather than talking about Nmecha and Greenwood and fucking memberships at Paddock FC. Probably would have gone with that, with it being such big news, I reckon. Ian says it should be up to the new owners to deal with the Greenwood situation. Are we talking about the Champions League on 5? I don't know if we're doing it. I don't know if we're doing 5 today or if we're doing it tomorrow. Talk about what about the Champions League? That was last weekend. No one wants to talk about that now. Just move it on. Just fucking leave it. Rocksteady says, regardless of who, how many new faces do we need to establish a strong squad? I think I come up with 7 the other day in my video. Any chance of getting RVP on? Yeah, I think RVP could come on, to be honest. He's coaching, isn't he, at the moment, though, so I think that's thrown a spanner into the works. What are my feelings going into pre-season and next season? Lolo says, give Mason the number 7. Don't think many are going to agree with you on that one. What are my feelings going into it feels like waiting game. It feels like nothing's really happening because of the ownership situation. And I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure United are having conversations with people and trying to make things happen. But I genuinely feel like, it doesn't really feel like there's too much going on with that. Chemical Romance says, ask the United women's team if they're happy to have him around for starters. Why is this a man and woman separate thing? Why is this a women's issue with Mason Greenwood? Why is it not a fucking human issue? Why is it not why don't the under-21s have a say in this as much as the women's team? Why don't the rest of the first team, the reserves, the people who work in the fucking canteen, all of those people, why is their say on this any different or more important or less important than the women's team? I really completely disagree with the fact that let's find out what the women think. It feels well patronising, to be honest. Like, are the women going to be okay with it? Am I okay with it? Are you okay with it? That's what fucking matters. And for the Glazers, for the owners, whether it's the Glazers or whoever, do the fucking sponsors have a problem with it? Do the supporters have a problem with it? These are fucking the questions, not a patronising way about going speaking to the fucking women. Do you know what I mean? It's not diminishing the thoughts and opinions of the women's team. It's just why it feels like a patronising thing to do. Are the women going to be okay with it? Are the fucking sports science department going to be okay with it? There's so many fucking departments that... whatever. Jack says, doesn't matter how good a player Greenwood is, we need rid. A happy squad is more important than one person. Yeah. Brylon says, I like how you're saying this. I used to be a youth worker. A lot of respect on the Greenwood issue. Just my feelings on it, to be honest. Jay says, what's changed in my opinion? What's changed my opinion on the Rabiot signing? His performances this season and the fact he's free. I think that's probably a massive factor in it. Eni says, if we can't get Kim Min Jae, we should go all out for Schlotterbeck from Dortmund. Well, supposedly, I spoke to somebody at the club last year, before Schlotterbeck went to Dortmund, because we did some looking at him, and I thought he was that good. I thought, I'm going to flag this up to somebody here, and flagged it up to someone at the club, and said, what do you reckon? Are we aware of him? So actually, it was way more than a year ago. It was while Ralph was still there. So it must have been 18 months ago or so. And apparently Ralph didn't rate him, and neither did the club's scouting department. So I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But Maguire we paid 80 million for. Just checking. Right, okay, cool. What's happening with Anthony? Hope the latest news isn't true. I was going to say what news, but oh yeah, of course. Honestly, I have no idea. I have zero idea. So, I don't know. Simon says, would you be happy with Mount and Rabiot as our 2 midfield sidings? It's looking very likely. It would have to depend on other stuff as well. But does that improve us? I think it probably does. So, you have to say, yeah, that's The only thing is that can you be improved even more? That's the big question there, I think. Hey, Lewis says, if Maguire, Sancho, McTominay go, how are United going to cope with the homegrown rule? Do we have enough players? Let me just have a quick Google. So let's have a look. Just want to see how many it is. 8 places reserved for locally trained homegrown players, association trained. Okay, so if we look at... So if you bring in Mount, well, there's one. There'll be some random players that so 21 and under doesn't count towards a squad. Homegrown, we've lost Phil Jones. We might lose Maguire. Ted and Mengi would probably be in there as homegrown. Tuan Zabi's probably going to go. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Mengi. There's 3. Brandon Williams may or may not find himself at the club this year, so let's not bother. Zidane Iqbal probably finds himself at least registered as part of the squad. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, there's 6. If you bring in Mason Mount, there's 7. Garnacho probably counts as homegrown as well. There's your 8. I don't think it's a problem, to be honest. I think you'd probably be fine. Tom Heaton probably find himself having a United career. Alanga, probably be all right. What's my thoughts on the Pickford rumours? Makes me want to throw open my mouth a little bit, if I'm being honest. Stephen says, why is everyone so keen to get rid of Sancho? For me, the only reason that would be considering getting rid of Jadon Sancho would be because he probably could raise a fair bit of money. If it wasn't to do with that, I'd probably keep him. Do I think Mount will start over Eriksen? Yeah, the more I've actually thought about it, the more I think I could understand why Mason Mount might start. And I saw a comment yesterday on the video that I did on Paddock where I was looking at like my ideal 11 for next season. And someone said, if Eriksen can only start certain games, so the games I said is like, Anfield away, City away, you don't start Eriksen in those games, you start somebody else, right? If he can't play, he can only play against like relegation fodder, then he shouldn't be playing for us, right? Let me just throw this little idea at you. Paul Scholes is a fucking hell of a footballer, right? I think we could all agree on that. In those games, maybe not City away at that time, certainly not that season, in our treble season, the only one that matters, the unprecedented treble, not the precedented treble that someone else has just done. In that season, Sir Alex Ferguson would play Nicky Butt alongside Roy Keane, and Paul Scholes would find himself on the bench. So why is it a problem to keep somebody like an Eriksen around if you would swap him out for, let's say, a Rabiot Casemiro sort of combination instead of a Eriksen Casemiro combination in those particular games? It's called game management. It's called selecting tactics to win every single game. Now, just because he's not going to be the first name on the team sheet at Anfield away doesn't mean that he's not going to play 30 games a season for you, because he absolutely could do. Richie R says, because Sancho is terrible, doesn't attack, he's shocking. Right, that's a little bit over the top there, isn't it? Matthew says, Giggs came on as a sub for the semi-final against Arsenal, scored a winner. He did that because he was dealing with an injury at the time and coming back from injury. Duke says, where do I go to join Paddock? Keep an eye on the socials. I'll see if I get a chance today, and I'll turn the memberships back on today and see where we go. There's about 5 or 6 things that I have to do to be able to turn the memberships on. So I can send you a link individually, but I'll put it out for everybody to do it. via the website and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So there's a couple of things we're going to be voting on. So if you do want to become a member, get in the mix. 2 things that I'm going to be putting out to vote. I say this week, it's if I get a chance to correct the arguments for and against this week. One is going to be our sponsorship ethics. So at the moment we're negotiating for certain sponsors, and I want to just get this quantified with our members and owners, is whether or not we take sponsorship from gambling, alcohol, tobacco companies. Ultimately, I would like us to have an academy, and I think, I don't mind that sponsorship stuff myself. I'm happy to use that. I'm a 39-year-old bloke, right? And my audience is 25 to 40, generally. I don't really have any kids watching me, and I'm pretty fucking happy about that, because we can have honest conversations. However, the football team, I think, is a different demographic and a whole different entity, so I'd like them to have their own sort of written and ratified sort of guidelines and rules. So that's what I would like to do. How do I feel about players using nicotine pouches? None of mine do currently, but I know a lot of Premier League players do. And I think, look, if they want to use that to boost performance, fine. However, I think as a club, we should take a view on whether or not we promote them. And I'm going to put that out to the members. The other thing I'm looking on to vote will be this week is, shall we do individual player sponsorships? Would there be a desire to do that? And that's the one. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to get to vote on. If you'd like to have your say in the runnings of a football club, and then keep an eye out on it, and that's the one. Duke says, where do I join the team or speak to coaches? There is a trial on the 24th. Just come to the trial. Mo Salad says, hopefully Willie Kamwala gets a chance because he is like a Kanate. Richie says, no pace. His pace seems to have gone. People talk about Anthony slows the game down with step overs, but Sancho just slows it. Garnacho should start next season. Right. Here's the thing. The Sancho-Garnacho stuff reminds me so much of the Berbatov and Tevez comparisons. There isn't a right and wrong answer here. There is only preference. And ultimately, Carlos Tevez, charging about the place like a lunatic, very reminiscent of what you see with Garnacho. He's extremely direct. He's extremely hardcore in that sort of manner. And Sancho, like Berbatov, way more languid, operates in between the lines. It's just a totally different sort of thing. So I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I understand that there's a preference. It's definitely more eye-catching, but that's that. Christopher Whitaker says, Manchester is blue. Listen, it's not about who's currently winning things. The Manchester is blue, Manchester is red thing isn't something that flows like a tide. Manchester is red because about 80% of the inhabitants of Manchester and Greater Manchester are United fans, right? That is not, Manchester's blue today because you beat us in the derby. Oh, Manchester's blue today because you did the precedented treble. Oh, Manchester is red today because we beat you at Old Trafford. No, Manchester is red is just a statement of fact because this city is a United supporting city, right? And you can count all the replica shirts if you want. I haven't worn a replica shirt in years. If I do, I wear them on holiday sometimes. I don't fucking cut about the gaff, right? I got to work, I wear a fucking t-shirt like a regular human being. City fans walk around like they've been glued up and bowled through the fucking megastore. I don't know why, but they do. You see people not wearing shirts, probably a fucking United fan, right? Manchester is red is not a fucking transient state of affairs because City happen to be pretty good at the moment. It's just a factual statement that this city was, and always will be a Manchester United supporting city. Factually. If I think about who I went to school with, I knew about 2 City fans. How many was in your school, Steve? About 700. I didn't know every single person in the fucking school, but it wasn't an overt fucking obvious thing about fucking seeing City fans. You just didn't fucking see them. It's not a joke about, the empty-eyed and this, that and the other. Pure and simple, don't have that many fucking fans. They're getting more now. They're getting more international support. They're getting all the fucking glory hunting divs and people like that jump on the bandwagon the same way that United had a lot of that. But here's the other thing. Factually, Manchester United had the highest attendance in the countries while we was in the second division. Apart from issues with our ground, Manchester United has, post-war, had the highest attendances in the fucking country constantly. In 1998, when Manchester United was hosting Bayern Munich in the Champions League, City had a home game against Mansfield where they had 3,007 people turn up. 25 of those was a Bayern Munich squad who went to watch it because the night before them playing against us. They're not a fucking big club. They're just a rich one. Know what I'm saying? Manchester's red. It's a fact. Yeah, there we go. Christopher Whitaker says, you're talking about the past as usual. Keep up. I'm talking about right fucking now, my friend. Right fucking now. I'll show you the video of... Did you see the MEN did a fucking... a poll which had somehow that basically all of Manchester supports City when it just fucking doesn't. Here's one pub in Trafford this weekend. Look at that. Look at the scenes. You fucking helmet. Here's how you know United are still the most important thing, because if Manchester United have just done the unprecedented treble, not the precedented treble, Monday morning, guess what? I'm not going on a fucking City fans YouTube channel to fucking waffle shit. I'm still in a fucking hole somewhere. Did you see the lack of limbs at full time? Honestly, you're a shit fan base. Like, you might have a good fucking team, but you've got a shit fan base. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. Go look at the limbs in 99 or 2008. And then look at there's people standing still, bored at full time when you've just won the Champions League. And I've got a question for you fucking Blues as well. Are you still going to boo it? Now you've won it. Now you've wanked yourselves into oblivion by joining those that have won the Champions League. Are you still going to boo it? For them finding that you broke the rules? Because why else would you boo it? Makes no fucking sense. Anyway, take a trip to town tonight. I don't need to take a trip to town. Look out the fucking window, mate. That's town. Right there. Right fucking there. Take a trip to fucking town. Piccadilly tram station's about 150 fucking meters away. Take a trip to town. I'm fucking in town. Factually, Manchester is red like them fucking walls right there. Anyway. Cheers to everybody else. And for the 5 City fans that have found your way in here, go fuck yourself. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.